Okay, so I've made the stream and I've pressed go live. Can you test to see if it is working, please? Okay, and can you hear me? Or I'm loud enough, yeah? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we're gonna run through the process directly from 3ds Max, and then we're gonna load up Chitu Box. Chitu Box is not available directly from the thing, from the main menu area or your desktop. We're gonna have to go into the C program files in order to get it, but we're gonna run through the entire process. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to have your 3ds Max file open, and you can have any model. This doesn't really matter too much. Just don't make it be something as simple as a box or something. I want to show you how to use the stilts feature. Um, I want to show you how to use the stilts feature, and if we've got something as simple as a box, then there's no need for that. Yeah. So I want to talk you through the difficult process of editing and manipulating your stilts. Okay. So here I have a lovely head from Clarice. Something happened to the eyes, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I've tried to solidify it, even though the mouth is open a bit. I can't be bothered to close it. I'm gonna leave it as that. And the thing is, once you finished your model, what um what you need to do is save this out as an OBJ file. So we're gonna go to File, gonna go to Export, and then I'm just gonna throw this onto my desktop. Save it as a OBJ file, and I'm just gonna call this. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just gonna call this resin head, so I know that this file is aimed towards going into Chitu Box. So I'm gonna press save, and then what I want to do is I want to change the presets down here in the export options. I want to change it to let's just change it to Mudbox. So I'm gonna find my Mudbox here. I know these settings work. You could probably save it as anything, but I'm familiar with this Modbox, and I want to change my faces to polygon. Um, and I think that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And then I'm gonna press export. Now the file doesn't have to be a solid file, like I've got here. The eyes are separate, but yeah. So there, and then I'm gonna press done. And then that's us done for there. And then what I'm gonna do is open up a folder. What I'm gonna do is type in C:/, press enter. So I'm in my C drive in the folder, and then I'm gonna go to program files, and then I want to go to Chitu Box 64 1.5. So I'm gonna open that, and then I'm gonna go to and find the Chitu Box application type. So I'm just gonna double click that, and that's loaded. That's loading. Okay, we can just press X on that. Okay, so now this program works similar to 3ds Max. We can use the middle mouse roller to zoom in and out. If we hold it down, we can pan, and right click will rotate. Yeah, so all on one hand, so that's cool. Up here we have a bunch of options. So what we want to do is go to File, Open. I'm gonna go to my desktop, and I name the file resin head. So then I'm gonna press open, and my head falls into position. Ooh, that's an ugly head. Okay, now what you'll see is it just comes in at any size. Pardon. And this is the size of our plate, this foreground. So basically everything needs to fit inside here, and anything that is red means that it will not print. But you generally want to give some space between the edges of the boxes, so it needs to be smaller. Okay, how we control this is here on the side panel we have move, we have rotate, and then we have scale. So you can press scale to fit, or depending on everything, you can just in the Z axis, so it's locked on its ratio, you can just make it a lot smaller. Yeah. Okay, a general rule of thumb when you're doing your models, depending on what it is, every model is going to be different, but um, what you want to do is set your model so it's not standing up completely straight. So what I found is the best way to sort this out, to get the best results at the end, is to have your model on a let's call it a 45, between 20 and 45 degree angle. Yeah. And then maybe also rotated rotated slightly, um, off to an axis, off to like in the x-axis or something. um, and then this way you won't create like a sealant cup at the bottom, because this works with pressure. um, and then we're going to put stilts on this so it can be built with it basically in mid-air using the struts as support. Okay, so we have our we can move it here, or you can just select and move it as you will. Rotation, then we have scale, and then we have mirroring or duplication and stuff, which we won't get into now. There are a few other options here which we won't mess around with, but then the next, so here you can see that how the thing is built up, and you can see that my eyes are separate, are building separately. Yeah, not that that matters, it's going to be a solid model. The thing that we want to do here now is we want to go over to our right panel, where we're in options, and you see we've got settings and slicing. Actually, let's go into settings first, and then what we want to do is we want to add a printer. So I'm going to press add new printer, and then we've got the top one here, Eligumars. So basically this software is designed for all of the common resin printers, but we have the Eligumars. We're going to press OK, and then it puts in settings for us, so we don't really need to mess around with this too much. Okay, here we can determine how much our product will cost. So we have to put the cost of the resin per liter in. So I'm going to change that to £40. Sorry, and change the dollars to pounds. Yep, so the resin type is normal at the 1.1. So this is information will be on the bottle, and then the cost of it. We won't mess around with these other stuff. So you can ask for your model to be hollow, and not infilled, so you can save on resin, but this is so small there's no point to be skimping on it. And you can tick anti-aliasing, which I think will just increase the time a bit, but we're going to leave that off. Yep, so we just press X to come off of that, and then what we want to do is go over to the right hand side at the top and click onto our second panel, which they don't have names, settings and stilts, just call it. Yep. Now here we have size of stilt, so let's just throw all of them on one by one to see what they look like. So I'm going to press the light, and you can see the image changes here to show you what they're like. All of these settings also can be manipulated. I haven't found one that I'm willing to say yeah works perfectly, so we're going to leave it as the default. And then we at the bottom we can press the platform button, so plus platform. And you can see at the bottom how it's made a platform and how it's trying to structure, and you can see where it's red is basically is going to have the most difficult part, as you need these struts to make things within the air. Yeah. Now depending on your model it will be completely different. While using the light supports, it's very easy to snap off as soon as the model is finished printing. Moving on to the the medium supports will require some form of clippers and stuff, and the heavy supports will leave small dents that you probably have to sand down or spray in or whatever, depending on what your model is like. Yeah, but you can see how thin these are. Yeah. And how well on my model it's going to be difficult because I've got like a big flat surface here, and then everything from there is kind of simple. Yeah. Now once if we're going up and we see okay I want to add some more supports here. At the bottom you can add supports, delete supports, and edit supports. Yeah, so I'm currently on add supports, so if I press here you can see that it's added a support in in and tacked it on. Now we can click over to the edit support. So when I click the joints, I can click it and then move it up or down um, to help with the growth. So basically these supports are just here to help the model not try to paint in thin air without any struts. It needs something to build from it. If there's not, then you'll only find out at the end that your model hasn't worked, and you've probably lost 3 to 9 hours, and you'd have to start again, clean out everything and start again. These bases can also be moved where you like. Once they get trapped inside of here though, it's difficult to move them, and you can add more struts to build these up. So basically what you want to try and do is make struts to support the struts that are going to be built on top of. So if one fails, you've always got another one to back yourself up with. Yep. Okay, so depending on what your model looks like, you can go ahead and if I click here on the struts, you can also build struts to build struts. Yeah. You can go ahead and basically manipulate these in order, and it's good to get them like going through one another in order to support your model. Okay. Okay, so if I click remove all of my struts are gone, and then I'm gonna click onto the medium and go build a platform, and you can see that there are fewer, but these are probably going to be stronger, a lot stronger compared to our light supports. Our light supports can easily fail while we're printing. And same, remove and go to heavy platform, and you can see it's actually what this will do is it will build a base before it builds the struts to give it more support. But with these, you're probably going to get nibs in the side of the face that you probably have to sand down and or paint in to hide. So usually what I do is I'll go for the medium. So let me just do that, and I won't do anything else. Okay, once our supports are perfect and they're fine and we've seen through them, what we want to do is come over here back to our main settings area, and we want to press slice. So you see at the bottom it's slicing, it's calculating. Okay, now we're met with two menus here. Yep. So what the software has actually done is it's made let's say 800 for me 874 picture files. Yeah. And basically if you imagine it like a MRI scan, yeah. So you can see these bits here, basically that's hollow for where the mouth is, and everything else will be filled. So the white will be a solid and the black will be hollow. So what this does is it does like an MRI scan. You can see it working on both ends, yeah, and you can see, where is it, yeah. So anyway, that's going to be completely solid, and what it does is basically this creates a light map that in the printer it shines a UV light on the resin, and then it turns that layer of the resin solid. So as we go down each layer it goes through, it's going to be making a solid area, and the rest is liquefied, so it will still be yeah, it will be liquid. Yeah. So if that looks okay and we don't have any pieces, my model is quite solid anyway, and we don't have any pieces that look a bit weird, like okay there's going to be a problem, you can we can come down here, and you can see here it says the volume, the weight is going to be, and the price. So this would cost me like £1.09. And hours it will take, this will take 3 hours and 36 minutes. Now if we had a full character model and we were to stand it up, it would probably be something, I think the maximum height that it can go is something like 12 centimeters or something. So that would be roughly around 9 hours. So if you can turn your model down, reduce it a bit and turn it to like 10 centimeters and turn it on its side, you can get a 7, 8, 9 hour model down to like 2 or 3 hours. Okay, so once that is done, down here at the bottom we can mess around with the exposure time, how long the light stays on per frame, and then we can set the speed. So what we want to do is we want to give more exposure time so that we can get our stilts to be cured as firm as possible. So I'm going to change this to 10. And you can see when I change that to 10, the time increased to 4 hours and 5 minutes. I'm going to change the lift speed so it actually moves faster to 5. And it's reduced to 3 hours and 40 minutes again. And then I'm going to change the lift speed per millimeter per minute to 300, and same for the retracting speed. I found that these settings work very well. And we've reduced our time. We've increased the curing time but reduced the overall time to 3 hours and 5 minutes compared to, I think it was 3 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah. So once that is all done, what we can do is we can press save. And what we want to do is there is a memory stick which we will only use for this to plug into our 3D printer. And we'll put it into a file that the printer can understand. We put it into a folder where the printer can locate it, and then we select it on the user screen there. So I'm just going to plug this USB that I have in my pocket in. USB drive. Here I have my slicing software, Elegoo Mars Rook. So I'm gonna come here and save it. So this file is a cbddlp file, slicing information, and then I'm gonna save it here. And then you can see that it is writing the file. Okay, and you can see here it says writing successful, and it will show you the folder. Yep. So it's put here resin head, and it's got the file type. Yep. So that's all the information we need, and that is the end of this section of the tutorial. What we will do next is we will go into the printing room, and I will talk you through the process of actually setting things up to print. Yep. Okay.